everybody, I'm back. It's the day after Christmas, and I am going to record Joshua chapter 13 for you. Last week we did 12, and we discussed a lot in chapter 12 about the kings that were defeated by Joshua, and that would be 31. I'm cutting him short. 31 kings in all that he was defeated, that defeated him. The more you understand about the geography of the Holy Land, the easier it is to understand the scriptures. So keep in mind that Israel is about 150 miles long and 50 miles wide. So much smaller than Colorado, that we live in here. So keep that in mind. But anyway, is there anything else I wanted to tell you? Oh, I wanted to go back. We don't know who wrote the book of Joshua. Some people think Joshua wrote it, although he didn't write about himself dying. So some people think it was Samuel that wrote it, which if you haven't studied with anyone but me, we haven't talked about Samuel, but maybe we will. So anyway, eventually. And I also wanted to mention, we mentioned about all these Canaanite people. They descended from Canaan, who was Noah's grandson. And his dad was Ham. Noah had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. After the flood, they had to rebuild the whole population. So these Canaanite peoples, the various peoples, came from Noah's son, Ham. But I failed to tell you who the Israelites came from. They came from Noah's son, Shem. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Shem is the ancestor of the Israelite people. So anyway, Moses and all his folks, and Joshua. So let's go ahead and jump into 13. Now we're going to talk about the tribes, tribal lands being divided. They've conquered much of the land. 31 kings. And let's jump in. Okay. Now Joshua was old and advanced in years when the Lord said to him, "You are old and advanced in years, and very much of the land remains to be possessed." Now they've possessed a lot, but there's still land to be possessed. And God is so honest. You're old. People, I've listened to different people, and they speculate Joshua was between 90 and 100 here. This is the land that remains. All the regions of the Philistines and all those of the Gershurites, from the Shihor, which is east of Egypt, even as far as the border of Ekron to the north, it is counted as Canaanite. The 5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazite, the Ashdodite, the Ashkelonite, the Gittite, the Ekronite, and the Avite. To the south, all the land of Canaanite, and Marah that belongs to the Sidonians, as far as Apec, to the border of the Amorite, and the land of the Gebelite, and all of Lebanon toward the east, from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon, as far as Lebo Hamath. Now remember, Mount Hermon is way up there, and Lebanon, I've been to near modern day Lebanon. I didn't go past that border. No. But anyway, it's way up north by the Golan Heights in Israel. So we're talking about the northern area here, but it's a lot of areas. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon as far as Misrepothaim, I'm saying all these names wrong, you know that. All the Sidonians, I will drive them out from before the sons of Israel. Only allot it to Israel for an inheritance as I have commanded you. Now, therefore, apportion this land for an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh. With the other half-tribe, the Reubenites and the Gadites received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave to them. From Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, with the city which is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Shihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, as far as the border of the sons of Ammon. And Gilead, the territory of the Gershites, and then we're going to ignore that. It's no, but I know. Okay, where am I at? And Gilead and the territory of the Gershites, and this one is pronounced or spelled Maacathhites, and Mount Hermon and all Bashan as far as Salakah. All the kingdom of Og and Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and in Edrei, he alone was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. For Moses struck them and dispossessed them. Remember, Moses got the people on the east side of the Jordan. The promised land, though, was on the west side of the Jordan. So Joshua, once they crossed, and then they defeated Jericho and Ai and so forth, and all those 31 kings. But the sons of Israel did not dispossess the Gershites or the Amalekites, for Gersher and Maachah live among Israel to this day. I'm going to keep reading. It's long, and really, to really get some of this, you're going to have to get a map out and just look at it as we go through it. Just stop the tape, look, give the map a look. Only to the tribe of Levi. Look at my baby. He's waiting for. He's listening. You never know what's right around people when they're recording. And look at that nose right there. How could you resist that? He's such a good boy. Okay. Only to the tribe of Levi he did not give an inheritance. The offerings by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance. He spoke to them. Let me talk about the tribes just briefly. We're halfway through this chapter. We're going to kind of rush it, and you can go back through and review it with a map, and that would be the most helpful thing. But anyway, remember there were 12 tribes of Israel. I say this all the time, but understanding it just helps. It just does. Remember, Jacob had Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob had these 12 sons, and they became the 12 tribes of Israel. They had 4 mothers among these sons. But anyway, Joseph being his favorite, Joseph in the coat, multicolored coat, that one. Eventually, Joseph, where are you at now, Ruger? I think he's okay. Joseph eventually split into 2 tribes because he got a double inheritance. And so his 2 sons became the tribe of Joseph, split in 2. So his sons are Manasseh and Ephraim. Those were the only sons he had with his Egyptian bride. And you would say, well, that's 13 tribes. And I heard people say 13 tribes, but I think it's still 12 tribes. Levi's not really thought of as a tribe anymore. They're the priests. And so right here, instead of giving Levi land to inherit from the Lord, they are given, the Lord is their inheritance. It says, only the tribe of Levi he did not give an inheritance. The offerings by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he spoke to him. So their inheritance is even greater. Now they have cities to live in, but their cities are scattered among the other tribes. So they are provided for, and then all the animal offerings and stuff, a lot of that goes to them. So Moses gave an inheritance to the tribes of the son of Reuben according to their families. Their territory was from Arar, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, with the city which is in the middle of the valley and all the plain by Medeba, Heshbon and all its cities which are on the plain, Dibon and Bamoth Baal and Beth Baal Meon, and Jahaz and Kedemoth and Mephath, and Kiriathim and Sibmah and Zereth Shahar on the hill valley, and Beth Peor and the slopes of Pigzah and Beth Jeshimoth, even all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses struck with the chiefs of Midian, Evi, and Rakim, and Zur and Hur and Reba, the princes of Shihon, who lived in the land. The sons of Israel also killed Balaam the son of Beor, the diviner, with the sword among the rest of their slain. The border of the sons of Reuben was the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the sons of Reuben according to their families, their cities, and their villages. It's just so hard to go through this without a map. I don't. It may even be just pointless without a map. So let's look at it right quick. Again, I'm going to take this simple little map out of here. You can Google some. If you're really just trying to listen and learn something, you don't have to understand it all. You get this over time. I'm still learning new stuff all the time. So, and on Facebook, if you watch me on Facebook, which 99% of people do, I only get a couple of views on YouTube. I put it on YouTube, but I only get a couple of views there. but I get a bunch of views on Facebook. So I put a map in the comments last time, and maybe I can try to do that again. So think of this. Here's Israel, and I know it's hard to see on this map here. Okay, this is the east of the Jordan River, west of the Jordan River. This is that little I don't know how you say it, Lake Hula, but it used to be a little lake. They call it something different in the Bible. A little lake up north, above the Sea of Galilee. It's no longer there, it's dried up. Okay, so here's the Sea of Galilee. The Jordan River flows down into the Dead Sea. And this is Israel. It's long. And then remember what I told you, it's only about 50 miles wide, which is just kind of freaky to me. But anyway, you can travel all over Israel quickly. However, you got to stop and see everything, which takes forever. So anyway, so on the east side, Moses defeated these, and he gave, here's Reuben's boundary lands. Do you see? There's this place called Moab down here. I wrote enemies, Amnon. And Gad is right above him, and Manasseh is above him. Remember, they were cattle ranchers, and they wanted to settle on that side for the grazing land. But they're not really crossing over. God told them to cross the Jordan River, and then, to go from there. Now, when they crossed the Jordan River, let me point out something to you. When Joshua took them across the Jordan River, hold on. Now I can't even see it, what I'm looking for. Dang. There's these little areas all around here. So it's really helpful if you can read a map. But there's Jericho. So they cross over from here to here, and they defeat Jericho. It's the first city they got. Now, we just read that. It says, now Moses gave this to Reuben. We're talking about Reuben. He's the oldest son of Jacob. He's the first tribe, the oldest son. And, now, the other two tribes that didn't want to completely cross over, the pastor at Calvary Chapel South, Denver Church, he talks about it like borderline Christians. Like some people, they do believe they're Christians and they'll go to heaven. They're Christians, but they kind of live on the edge. They're not all, they miss out because they're settling for something different than what God had for them. But anyway, we could go on and on about that because all of this we can relate it to our own lives. But let me go ahead and show you. We're going to read about Gad. Now, right above where Reuben's lands are on the east side of the Jordan, outside the Promised Land, is Gad. This is the son of Gad, or the tribe of Gad. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. So Gad is I don't remember if it's Bilhah's son or Zilpah's son. One of those concubines' sons that Jacob had. And it's basically the two wives were having a baby contest, and so they had their servants have children for them. That's basically what it was. So anyway, we won't get too far into that, but let me read about Gad's inheritance, his land. Now, this was given to him by Moses rather than by God. Remember, God wanted them to cross over. Come on over. Have all that I have for you. But they chose to stay in closer proximity to their enemies, which is interesting. Okay, where am I at? Okay, Moses also gave an inheritance to the tribe of Gad, to the sons of Gad according to their families. Their territory was Jazer and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the sons of Amnon as far as Ur, which is before Rabbah, Rabbah, and from Heshbon as far as Ramoth, Mizpah, and Betonium, and from Manaheim as far as the border of Debir. And in the valley, Beth Haram and Beth Nimrah, and Succoth and Zaphon, and the rest of the kingdom of Shihon, king of Heshbon, with the Jordan as the border, as far as the lower end of the sea of Shinroth, behind the Jordan to the east. This is the inheritance of the son of Gad, according to their families and cities. Now, remember how they were saying the border is the Jordan. So, and they said that about Reuben too. Like, well, there's the Dead Sea, but here's the Jordan starts. And it flows down, but I'm going backwards. So here's the Jordan River. See, the border of Gad here is the Jordan River. I guess a lot of the border of Reuben is the Dead Sea, but there's that little piece. And then you go up, and we're going to get to East Manasseh. Now, Manasseh, I don't understand. I don't remember why, or if I even figured out why. But Manasseh is here and here. So the tribe of Manasseh, which is one of Joseph's sons, is split. And look at how large it is. So these guys crossed, but these guys did not. Moses also gave an inheritance to the half-tribe of Manasseh, and it was for the half-tribe of the sons of Manasseh according to their families. Their territory was from Mahim, all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and all the towns of Jair, which are Bashan, 60 cities. Also half of Gilead with Ashtaroth and Edrei, the sons of the kingdom of Og and Bashan, were for the sons of Machir and the son of Manasseh, for the half of the sons of Machir according to their families. These are the territories which Moses apportioned for an inheritance in the plains of Moab, beyond the Jordan at Jericho to the east. These are the territories which Moses apportioned for inheritance in the plains of Moab, beyond the Jordan at Jericho to the east. So east of Jericho, east of the Jordan River, because when you cross west, Jericho's right there. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses did not give an inheritance. Those are the priests, Moses' people. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses did not give an inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he had promised to them. And for Christians, Jesus is our inheritance. But I want to get a little bit back into this line. The more you understand this Old Testament, the more you'll understand the New Testament. So again, here's Manasseh, and that's the land Moses gave to them. Moses gave to them. Now, when I was listening to people talk about this, I didn't hear this point, but it came to me, or the thought came to me. I've been on top of Mount Nebo where Moses went before he died, and he looked out at all the promised land, and then the Lord buried him down below in the valley. No one knows where Moses is buried to this day. But anyway, Moses gave them that inheritance. They would rather settle for what a man could give to them than what God could give to them. And I keep thinking about this scripture. I'm going to read it to you. It's in the New Testament, John. What is I have the verse number, but I don't have. Sorry, guys. What did I do, John? I think it's in chapter 1. I think it's chapter 1, verse 17. But don't quote me on it. Let me look here. I looked it up, but I forgot to write down the chapter number. Yeah, it's in chapter 1. So chapter 1, verse 17. And I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to back up. I'm going to go to verse 14, because this is talking about Jesus coming into the world. Anyway. And the word is Jesus. Jesus is the Word. The living Word. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we saw his glory as of the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified about him and cried out, saying, this is John the Baptist they're talking about. This was he of whom I said, he who comes after me has a higher rank than I, for he existed before me. For of his fullness we have all received grace and grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth were realized through Jesus Christ. So, like when they refused, the law came through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. It's almost like by refusing to cross over and hold on to those lands from before, and they defeated those kings, and Moses gave it to them. Moses gives the law, and grace is given. Grace is given by Jesus Christ. It almost seems to me like a little bit of a parallel, like, and maybe I'm mistaken, but it's just Ginger's thoughts, that these tribes, the half tribe, are part of the tribe of Manasseh, Gad and Reuben, that they might have been holding on to their own works a little bit. You see Christian groups who want to do that. And we're only saved by grace. You have to believe you're saved by grace to be saved. But even when we do believe we're saved by grace, sometimes people will maybe put a little bit too much confidence in their own works. And remember, they were staying behind because they wanted that land for the work that they do, the cattle ranching they do. I don't understand it all. It's just a thought that came to me. You can argue if you want to. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how I would analyze that. And we rushed through that. We could have spent a lot more time on it. But my encouragement to you is to get a map and to look it over. I only spent 21 minutes, but I'm going to post this in a couple days. We may review it if I find the need to, but remember that all these lands are being proportioned, and you can study it as many times as you want to. Listen to that pastor from Calvary Chapel, South Denver. He's awesome, and he teaches on this same chapter. So anyway, I hope you had a great Christmas, and I will see you soon.